Hey there, and welcome into Main Street Living. I'm Danielle Alvari.
I'm Cheryl Nelson.
And I'm Valerie Tutson.
And Valerie, it's so good to have you here on Main Street Living. We're going to be incorporating some additional hosts into our show, and we are so happy that you are one of our hosts. Thank you for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you, Cheryl. It is nice to be here. It's good to be with Danielle as well. I'm a storyteller. I live in Providence, Rhode Island, and I am just thrilled. I've been familiar with the show a little bit and just excited to be able to share the stories that come from our people all over the country here.
Yes, well, award-winning storyteller, people. So we brought in the big guns here. She's incredible. And we know that you've gotten a lot of stories from your travels, right? So what can you tell us about where you've been and what's been exciting to you?
You know, one of the greatest things about working as a storyteller is that I do get to go around the world. I've gone to Africa many, many times. One of my favorite places is South Africa, where I have a storytelling sister there. But I've also been to Senegal and Ghana and Zimbabwe and Mozambique. Yeah. Anywhere I can go. And South America is one of my favorite places to go. I would go to Peru regularly, and Europe. Anywhere I can go, you know, is where I like to be when I'm telling stories and hearing people tell stories.
We need to talk because I'm also a travel guru. So I'm really, really thrilled about this. And I would love to learn more about your travels. And I'm sure we will as we go throughout week to week of Main Street Living. But obviously, you're a storyteller, you're a TV host. What are some other interesting jobs that you've had in the past?
Well, one of my early jobs was transplanting plants. Has anybody ever done that before? I worked at
a plant transplanter.
Plant transplanter, exactly. It was actually one of my favorite jobs. I worked at a nursery and nobody could bother me. I would go out in the back and I would take the little seedlings out of the trays and stick them in a pot, and then I could water them, and I got to be barefoot. That was like the best thing about that.
I mean, that's exactly the kind of thing that we're looking forward to. We're obviously spellbound by her storytelling skills, and hopefully we have some great stories for you today. A community health center that is improving health in their community, and also we visit with a dentist who's keeping your teeth healthy.
And not only that, we are still celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. So we're going to learn about a special drink, and we're going to take a look at a very fun parade right in my neighborhood.
Drinks and parades. I'll never turn that down. We will also highlight the most popular sport on earth, find out what that is. But coming up next, we'll talk about the sports we can all play. Welcome back to Main Street Living. There are so many great benefits that kids get from playing sports. They exercise, they learn teamwork, and they improve their self-esteem.
Yes, and playing sports is also a lot of fun and a great way to make new friends. The Adaptive Sports and Recreation Association in San Diego is working to give all kids the opportunity to play regardless of physical disabilities. So please welcome to Main Street Living, Nancy Rosenberger. Nancy, thanks so much for making the time for us today.
Thanks for having me.
So we know that you are a part of a pretty incredible organization in San Diego, the Adaptive Sports and Recreation Association. How would you describe this group?
This is a group of people who know the importance of everybody being involved in sports. And when you're not able-bodied, it's very hard to find programs that will accommodate you. So we want to make sure that everybody has that ability to do that, regardless of if they're in a wheelchair or some other way handicapped.
So what are some of the programs that you all offer?
Well, our signature event, which just happened, was our Junior Adaptive Sports Camp. I think it was the 27th year that we've done this. And it's 5 days of over 14 different sports, 2 days at Mission Bay, where we do all the water sports, including water skiing, tubing, hand cycling, kayaking, all of those fun things. We also did martial arts this year and a few other things. And then we moved to Miramar College and do swimming, basketball, swimming, basketball, soccer, tennis, archery, golf, all kinds of other things. And then we have year-round programs that haven't quite gotten started yet after the pandemic.
Yeah. So who is eligible to participate in the programs?
Well, our camp is from ages 4 to 17, and we also have had adult teams, basketball teams. We have a women's basketball team that is all women, so any age, really.
Mm.
So you started to talk about your year-round programs. What are some of those year-round
Well,
programs?
the ones that were just, like I said, getting started is basketball, lacrosse. We were real excited to have power soccer in power wheelchairs at camp this year, and we're hoping to get that started too. And we have a kayaking program. We try and go kayaking once a month. We have hand cycling. We've done rock climbing. We do a lot of clinics, day clinics, rock climbing, basketball, soccer, lacrosse, anything that's of interest to the kids.
So what's interesting is obviously there's so many different types of disabilities and everybody's is unique to themselves. What kind of disabilities can you accommodate?
Anybody with physical disabilities, they don't necessarily have to be in a wheelchair, which is what I
Mhm.
thought when we found adapted sports and rec for our grandson. And it's just anybody who isn't able to play able-bodied sports. And even though they may not be a full-time wheelchair user, some of the sports they do use a wheelchair for.
Mhm.
So just there's
Absolutely.
a variety. There's spinal cord injuries, um, cerebral palsy kids, muscular dystrophy, amputees, uh,
Mm.
just lots of different things that some things I never even knew about.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering too about the ages. Do you accommodate all ages in the work that you do?
Yes, we do. Camp is just for ages 4 to 17, and then we have adult programs too.
And I'm also curious, I heard you mention about your grandson, and I'm just curious, why is it so important for you to give kids or anybody the opportunity to participate in these kinds of sports activities? What made
Well,
you
I
want?
saw how it really helped our grandson, and just with kids at camp will say, "It's the first place I've been that nobody looks at me differently." And they make
Oh,
friends, and they realize empathy for other people too, but it's just important the way sports is for able-bodied, just to be involved and be part of a team or physically active, mentally.
yeah. I mean, the more the merrier for real. It's always more fun when more people can participate, I think, and it's so great that you get to give that back to them. I think I probably already know the answer to this, but what do you love most about being a part of this organization for you personally?
I love all the people that I've met, and,
Mhm.
not only I mean, I look at the people with disabilities, especially the ones who weren't born that way, that had accidents, and I see their resilience and their great attitude, and the families are wonderful, and this year at camp, we had a record number of teenage volunteers. It takes about 150 volunteers to put on that week of camp, and I saw how hard they worked and how great they were, and it just gave me so much hope for the future to
Wow.
Mm.
see kids get involved in that. And then we also had, because we haven't been able to have camp for a couple years, a lot of the kids, like my grandson, who were campers the last time we had it, are now 18 and 19, and they were counselors. And
Oh,
we saw
so
how
fun.
and we saw how great they did. They did such a good job. We were so proud of them.
Oh, I love
Mm.
that. I love that. And it's amazing to think about 100 volunteers. So,
Oh, it
yeah,
takes a lot.
yeah, yeah.
Takes
So, how
village.
else do you staff it?
It's all volunteer. And volunteer nurses from Children's Hospital come. We have restaurants around San Diego that come and do lunch. Hodad's brings their fryer to make French fries and grill to make hamburgers, and Pizza Hut delivers pizza. Luna Grill has been a longtime sponsor of ours. The
Mm.
fire department comes and barbecues and down at the bay, and we just have everything is volunteer. We have to set up probably about 20 canopies at the bay and take them down every night and put them up the next morning. We start about 5 o'clock in the morning.
Mm.
We have to rent 2 U-Hauls to bring all the equipment. And most people don't realize that every chair is different for each sport. There's a
Mm.
basketball chair, a soccer chair, a rugby chair. They're
Wow.
all different. So we have lots of equipment we have to get around. And kids outgrow wheelchairs the way other kids outgrow tennis shoes.
Mm, mm, mm.
Oh
So
my gosh.
we have
So
lots.
just new challenges all the time, I'm
It
sure. So
is. It's a much more expensive way to have sports than with able-bodied.
Mm.
yeah, absolutely. But fortunately you have the volunteers and hopefully the technology just keeps getting better and better. How can our viewers find out more information if they want to get involved or maybe donate their time?
They can go to our website and adaptedsportsandrec.org and send me an email or send Lindsay an email, and we'll get right back to you. I guarantee you. We also have a Facebook page and Instagram that I think the Facebook page is San Diego Adaptive Sports and Rec. And most of our information is on there also, and videos and pictures. And I guarantee you'll be inspired.
I
think you're gonna.
By what I saw, you're doing beautiful work, amazing work.
Thank you.
Well, I loved learning about all of that. And it was great to celebrate the work that's being done there. And speaking of celebrating, when we come back, we are going to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month with a drink. So stay tuned.
Welcome back to Main Street Living. Danielle, Valerie, one of the best parts of celebrations and months like Hispanic Heritage Month is, of course, having a great excuse to try delicious food and drinks associated with that culture. You don't have to tell me twice.
That is right. And when you think about drinks in Hispanic cultures, you might go directly to tequila.
Yes, and you might steer yourself away, but neither here nor there. How much you actually know about tequila's more worldly and interesting cousin, mezcal. You could learn a lot from a visit to Misterio Mezcal and have a great time in the process. Let's check it out.
What people can expect when they come into Misterio Mezcal for the first time is actually enjoy and know all the background that there is to know about mezcal.
When we first started thinking about opening this place, you can see the mezcal was trending very well. So I was looking for the transition for the people that like tequila, trying to make it like mezcal.
Mezcal and tequila, people think they're the same thing, but mezcal is so much more, and there's so much behind it. And we have a great selection of so many different types of mezcals.
This is the old fashioned. We're gonna start with 1.5 ounce of mezcal. Then we're gonna add 3/4 ounce of Ancho Reyes. One of the most popular drinks that we have is the old fashioned. It's a classic one, but with our own twist. We try to make it more personal, more unique. And there you go, this is our old fashioned. For me, the difference between mezcal and tequila is that mezcal has a lot of different tones when you try it. So every single mezcal there is different.
The area that Misterio Mezcal is located at is at the Arts District. The way that we have benefited from being part of the Arts District is just the community in itself. Everybody around here is really warm. Everybody wants the best for every other business owner. And of course, First Fridays is a big thing for us. It's basically a day where everybody can come out and enjoy what the Arts District is all about. My culture definitely inspired the theme of Misterio Mezcal. And you can see the detail once you walk in and see those decorations. And then, of course, we wanted the art murals to kind of represent a little bit of that same culture. I'm doing this business with my husband is because I want a better future for my kids, because that's what my parents had in mind when they came to this country in the first place, because they wanted a better future for us. And one of the reasons why this is a Mexican bar is because I am from Mexico. Just seeing the reaction from our customers and them telling us, oh my God, your bar looks amazing, or you have such a unique theme, and we love mezcal, and we love your food, or we love this, we love that. It just makes everything worth it.
Okay, guys, I don't know if I've actually ever tried this. To me, it was just tequila, but I guess there's something new I got to check out.
We all got to check it out.
Hmm.
And you can find out more about this very cool bar in Las Vegas on their website, misteriomezcal.com.
And while you're grabbing a drink, stick with us because up next, we're going to find out everything we need to know about the Soccer Academy right here on Main Street Living.
Welcome back, everyone. Soccer, or football, as the rest of the world calls it, is the most popular sport on earth. With more than 4 billion fans worldwide, the sport has captured the hearts, or at least the attention, of people all around the globe.
Yeah, Val, that's so amazing. And as part of our Hispanic Heritage Month celebration, Your View is carrying several new programs, including a fascinating series called the Soccer Academy. Producer and host Antonio Suave is here to tell us more. Welcome to Main Street Living.
It's great to be with you. Thank you very much.
So happy to have you here. So you produce and host a series called the Soccer Academy, which
That's
has
right.
been running since what, 2003? So what
Yep.
can viewers
I'm-
experience in the show?
The Soccer Academy, the basic premise is to spread a message of peace through soccer around the world. And of course, as you mentioned in the intro here, soccer is really the world's most popular sport.
Mm.
So as a vehicle, as a tool, it's really very effective when we talk about peace, especially with younger soccer players, their parents, their extended families, and coaches worldwide. So, it really has quite a bit of appeal.
Yeah. And side note here, Antonio Suave, any relation to Rico Suave, just so we know?
No, but I get that a lot. So I wish there was.
Okay. Well, very well loved, and soccer is very well loved around the world. And with this show, you've gotten to go to the ends of the earth to talk about this game. What is it about soccer that's just so universally endearing?
Well, let's talk perhaps a little bit about that. We've shot the show in places as diverse as Jerusalem, of course, in Israel. We've shot the show in Damascus, Syria. We've shot it in Amman, Jordan. And now we just recently filmed 2 episodes in Morocco, in the
Wow.
cities of Marrakesh and Safi. So really, from an international perspective, I think what appeals to people, apart from the soccer elements, because there's a soccer instructional component, is the fact that there is a lot of cultural exposure. So people like to see, what's new, what's fascinating, and what's interesting in different cultures around the world. And that's what we try to do, because the show is not just instructional in nature, but it is also educational, if you will. So it's a bit of a travelogue. But some of the interesting stories have to do with places like Damascus, Syria. We were actually there filming just prior to the outbreak of the civil war in Syria.
Mm.
So sometimes, the message that we're spreading and the tool and the vehicle we're using, soccer that is very effective. Now, in some places, we go there to mitigate some of the damage that's been done, if you will, in let's just say the political governmental sphere and so on. But of course, we transcend all of that. We don't address politics. But, the other thing we do is actually embrace religion and culture. So, for instance, when we're filming in Syria, we'll also film next to a mosque and talk about some of the positive attributes of the people who are spreading peace through both soccer as well as their faith and their culture and their identity.
There's so much we can all learn from different cultures. And I love that you're doing that. And we are celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month here on Main Street Living. And I know last year you shot several episodes in Mexico. So
Yes.
what was that like? And how
Yeah.
much does soccer play into Hispanic culture?
Well, I mean, it's very prevalent and very prominent, of course. From the viewpoint of Mexico, and I had been there, of course, several times in the past, and spent a lot of time in Latin America in places like Brazil and Argentina and Colombia too, where soccer is pretty much you could call them the national pastimes. So when you're doing it in a place like Mexico, of course, there's just an inherent love for the sport. And the sport is ingrained into the culture. You know, a lot like, even though soccer has grown dramatically here in the States, soccer is more like Sunday football is here, you know, or Saturday college football. So everything revolves around, you know, the lead up to some of these major games. So we had the wonderful opportunity to film with some of the clubs like Leones Negros in the city of Guadalajara. We got to film with the former coach of Pumas, and we got to film with one of the all-time great coaches, Herrera, also known as El Piojo. So, you know, it was a beautiful experience, and we were right there near Azteca Stadium filming with him. And he's really larger than life. But, you know, from a Mexican perspective, also here in the States, as we know, because that culture is so prominent, prevalent in the States, and it really is linked to soccer most of the time to the big teams in Mexico City and the big teams in Guadalajara. I think it was pretty well received. So we got to film 5 episodes last year in Mexico. And of course, the other reason we focused on Mexico was not just the vicinity with the States and the cultural affinity and so on, but, you know, the pandemic limited some of our other episodes that we had planned in other areas, but it worked out very well. So we were able to become fully ingrained and engrossed in Mexican culture during that time. And people especially liked the fact that we stopped at some of the more exotic markets in Guadalajara and Mexico City, and people even saw what it looks like to have a chocolate-covered scorpion for dinner.
Oh, no, thank you.
You guys haven't had that before?
Yeah,
So you've said that one of the goals of the show is to spread global peace. How can soccer accomplish that?
Well, you know, I've been involved with an entity known as the United States Institute of Peace in Washington, D.C. since 2014. So, you know, apart from the show, some of my background has to do with foreign policy. So I'm very much of a believer that we can achieve higher standards of peace and certainly much greater methods and modes of collaboration on a global scale. It's just we got to figure out how to do it and speak a language that is common. So certainly soccer is one of those languages, but, you know, it's a tool, it's a vehicle, like many other things that transcend politics, right? So arts and culture, entertainment to a large degree, you can use all of those platforms to create more of a cooperative environment between and among cultures around the world.
Oh, yeah. And you're spreading so much good information. I love everything that you're doing. We got to wrap things up here. But quickly, where can our viewers go to get more information and watch the show?
You can go on socceracademy.tv. There's also a Soccer Academy channel on YouTube. So it's the Soccer Academy television channel.
Awesome. Wow. Thank you so
Thanks
much.
so much, Antonio.
Thank you. It's great talking with you. Thank you.
Me too.
All right, well, let's just keep the fun times rolling. Coming up, we are celebrating the Dominican community in Rhode Island.
Welcome back to Main Street Living. Danielle, Valerie, as you know, we are still celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, and the term Hispanic really covers a lot of ground, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. There's 22 countries represented by Hispanic Heritage Month, and each of them brings a unique set of cultural traditions.
There's a large Hispanic population here in Rhode Island, and the community recently put on a parade and festival honoring the neighbors from the Dominican Republic. Let's take a look at this colorful celebration.
The mission of Quisqueya in Action is to preserve the art, culture of the Dominican Republic and its language through education and community involvement. My name is Marilyn Cepeda. I am the president of Quisqueya in Action, Inc. We had a great event, a massive amount of people on Broad Street They came out and they supported the organization and our Dominican community, the Latino community as a whole. Just to see those Dominican colors on Broad Street, that was like so inspirational for me. It was just like so prideful, to celebrate the art and culture of the Dominican Republic and the contribution we as Dominicans make in the state of Rhode Island and the country as a whole. After we finished there, we came back here to the festival. The festival, we had about between 12 or 13,000 people. And honestly, under the excruciating weather, it was almost like 100 outside. I mean, to have the amount of people that we had here, the support from not just the Dominican community, from the Latino community as a whole, the Anglo community, the African American community. I know it means a lot to Rhode Island, but I didn't think that it meant that much. And I'm getting emotional, but because we can't forget our history. Our kids need to know where they come from. We have a lot of Dominican Americans here, third generation, fourth generation, and they don't know a lot about where their parents come from. They need to know where they come from, where their ancestors come from, because when you don't know your history, you're bound to make mistakes. So it's important for us to preserve this event, the parade, the festival, even the different events that we organize during the year. I just want to thank so many people that made this a success this year, but I can't thank enough the city of Providence. I am so proud to be a Rhode Island, honestly. I would not live anywhere else. We had so much support from everyone. This would never have happened unless we had the support of the community as a whole, the community at a local level and at the state level. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, that looks like so much fun. And Val, you're pretty close to that, aren't you?
I live right around the corner, and Quisqueya en Acción is my neighbor. So
Oh, so cool.
So if that put a smile on your face, I want you to stick around, because coming up next, tips for a healthy smile.
Welcome back into Main Street Living. Now, I think it's safe to say that one of the first things we usually notice about people we meet is their smile, which is why we all want to have a healthy, beautiful smile. But unfortunately, life does not always work out that way.
True. But a healthy smile is so much more important than just to make us look good. An unhealthy mouth can lead to an unhealthy body. Dr. Aldo Espinosa with Bonito Del Rey Dental Care is here to give us some information about dental implants. Welcome, Dr. Espinosa.
Hey guys, how are you? Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Hi.
It's great to have you. So what exactly are dental implants and how are they different from dentures?
Well, a dental implant is a replacement, a permanent replacement when somebody's losing or is going to lose a tooth. So just think about it like if you don't have a tooth anymore, then a dental implant will replace that one tooth permanently in your mouth, nothing that you take in and out, just like having your own tooth one more time again. And it's very dental implant from a denture is very different. A regular denture, as we know it, like the ones that grandma and grandpa used to have, or they still have maybe, it's something that is removable in the mouth. It's like actually I have one here. So this is like, this is an actual denture. So this comes in and comes out of somebody's mouth, and as you can see, fairly like kind of bulky and stuff. Dental implant is totally something different. It's something that you will feel, use, and look like a natural tooth, and you never take them in. You never take it out. It's always in your mouth. So that's a huge difference between a dental implant and a regular denture.
Oh my gosh, it sounds so much better too. And because I would assume having that bulky piece in your mouth would really mess with your speech. And so I know a lot of people don't want that as well. What are some other benefits of dental implants?
Well, there's so many benefits to a dental implant that probably will just like I will probably never stop talking about it. But one of the main ones is number one, it keeps you from losing your jawbone. Over time when you're losing teeth, you keep losing your jawbone,
Ooh.
and dental implants will prevent that from happening. Then it will also let you actually look and function socially and even when eating and like you used to do, like at 100%. So with a denture, you really just, I mean, statistically, you can with a denture you can eat like 10% of what you used to.
Hmm.
With dental implants, you're close to like really, really close to like a natural tooth. So socially and health wise, it's like huge difference in somebody's lives.
Wow. And it sounds like it must be obviously a completely different process to create something like a dental implant as opposed to the denture. So how long does it take?
Yes, it's a completely different process. I mean, actually, denture is that's technology that was invented in 1930s. So imagine, I mean, somebody using right nowadays something that was invented in the 1930s and still the same technology with this. So it's like getting a Model T car and instead of a Tesla right now. So dental implants is totally different. It's like the newest thing in the world. It's great. And it with the way we have it developed here at Bonita Del Rey Dental, we can have somebody, walk with this in the morning in our office, and we can put dental implants and a set of permanent teeth in their mouth in the same day. So, with the process that we developed, the technology that we have, you can walk in the morning with no teeth and you walk in the afternoon with a set of teeth in your mouth.
Oh my gosh. So it
Yeah.
sounds like that this can help when you have multiple teeth missing. Can you do multiple teeth or multiple implants in one day? And what will this feel like to the patient?
Yes, it's like where implants really shine is when somebody's missing multiple teeth or all their teeth in the mouth. That's when really people lives change when they go through this process. And how does it feel? It's like, I guess, I mean, the best way to describe it or the best way to know, just go through patient testimonials. Just go through what actual people say, how they feel, after they finally make their effort and they're brave enough to go through this. And when they do it, that's when they really their life change is a totally different thing. I mean, they can eat, they can go out with friends, they learn to smile again, they're not self-conscious anymore. So it's a lot of changes on our patients when they go through this.
Yeah, I imagine, as you're saying, it helps people feel more confident about what they're doing and also makes them more healthy, as you talked about a little bit before. But it sounds as if, as well, that it would be really important to find the right dentist to do the dental implant. So, what should people be looking for when they're trying to find someone to do this important work?
Yeah, well, like with any medical profession, it's really important that you choose the right professional to take care of yourself for your specific situation. There's a few questions that you might or you need want to ask your dentist before you go through dental implants with them. Of course, one of the most important one is the experience of the dentist. I mean, actually, the experience with implants of the dentist, because you can have a dentist has 20 years experience, but doing some other things, like other things in dentistry, fillings and cleanings and whatnot. But actually, how many implants does this dentist place in their life, and how many implants do the implants like actually routinely place? Um, like me personally, the only thing that I do now is only implants. Day in, day out. That's the only thing that I do. So it's really highly specialized on that. Another really important question is somebody's going to that's really this is also really important. Need to ask your implant dentist if they have a 3D scan in their office. A 3D scan is a special X-ray machine that is paramount for somebody to use and for safety when they do a dental implant. So experience, technology is really, really important. And of course, you need to have the right person that really cares about you to take care of
Yes,
you.
absolutely. And I can tell you not only have the credentials, but you also care very much about your patients. And you gave great information for our viewers who are not in Southern California to find someone near them, but for our viewers who are in your local area, how can they get in touch?
Those are different ways of getting in touch nowadays. I mean, the easiest ways, like for everybody, just Google somebody's name and find it. But if you go to our website, it's bonitadelrey.com, and Bonita Del Rey, just type it and you'll find it. You'll find it all over the place. You find it on social media and YouTube.
Perfect.
You find us online, and it's the easiest place to get a hold of us.
All right. We have that information on the screen. Thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Nice to meet you.
You too. All right, Valerie, now that we are flashing our healthy gums and our pearly whites, next on Main Street Living, we will shed some light on how to keep our communities healthy. So stay right there. Thanks for staying with us here on Main Street Living. Welcome back. And taking care of our health is probably the most important thing that we can do for ourselves and our loved ones.
Yes, I think we've all learned that, especially over the last couple of years. And Valle de Sol Community Health in Arizona offers integrated services to keep mind, body, and spirit in tune.
Let's take a look at how this team works to create a healthier community.
Valle del Sol started over 50 years ago, 1970. The goal was to establish social services, behavioral health services primarily, substance abuse services. The main goal at that point was to serve the veteran community that was returning from the Vietnam War. At that point, there was a lack of services for the Latino community, so that was the main goal, to have a place for the community to come and be served in their language and, with people that spoke Spanish. Throughout the years, there's been a need for additional services, so we started offering primary care, and the whole point of that was to integrate not only the physical health, but also the mental health, behavioral health, social aspects. But the goal, again, is for us to be able to not just only address the one thing, right? We want to be able to be here for the community in terms of everything. It's better to really find connections, and that way the person feels supported and they don't feel like they're alone when it comes to their health.
Valle del Sol is open to anybody in the community. We do serve a majority of Hispanic and Latinos. The ailments or the chronic diseases that we see a lot, specifically in our Hispanic community, are things like high blood pressure, hypertension, diabetes, high cholesterol, depression, anxiety. These are all things that we as Latinos suffer from and are the things that we mostly come and see the doctor for. Here at Valle del Sol, we also offer not just primary care services for adults, but we also offer pediatric health. Dr. Wooten, our pediatrician, can see them for their well visit if they were behind on their developmental milestones. Then Dr. Wooten can address that. He can set them up with a catch-up schedule for their immunizations. They can get their flu shot, they can get their COVID shot, all in the same visit.
When it comes to Valle, the awesome part and something that I love about Valle is that when you come here, we don't only talk about the one need, right? We love to have the family identify. So, ¿quiénes son las personas importantes para ti? And the reason why we ask that is because when it comes to health, professionals can tell you what to do. But if you get the buy-in from the family and the family understand, then la abuelita, el tío, everybody will help address those needs. Los invito a que sean pacientes de Valle del Sol. We have different locations. We're across the valley. We don't say no to anybody. We don't turn people away. If we don't provide services, we will help you connect. But for the most part, we're a really good place to come and get all of the services that you need. So come to Valle.
I just love how they make family so central to all the treatments that they offer in the work.
Absolutely. I love that
Yeah.
question. Who is important to you? It's a question we should all have our answers
Mhm.
for. And you can get more information about the services offered by Valle de Sol on their website. But don't go anywhere, because straight ahead we have more Main Street Living. Welcome back into Main Street Living one last time. And remember, if you missed any part of this episode or any others, you can always check out our show on our Cox Contour app. And you don't want to miss any of the show, because we have the lovely and amazing Valerie Tutson here with us today. Thanks so much for joining us.
It was so much fun.
Valerie, so nice to have you here. And don't forget, you can catch episodes of Main Street Living Mondays at 9 p.m. local time. So join us then as we take another stroll down Main Street.